Thank you, Mr. President. We welcome the President of the Human Rights Council, Ambassador Vyacheslav Such, to this meeting and thank him for his informative briefing. In a month's time, we will celebrate the 70th anniversary of the adoption of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, the guiding force in our common collective cause of promoting and protecting human rights for all. Since its establishment 12 years ago, the Human Rights Council, as the intergovernmental subsidiary body of this UN General Assembly, has sought to overcome the problems that had been faced by its predecessor. The work of the Human Rights Council and its associated procedures and mandates is regrettably getting more contentious and difficult. More broadly, the global situation today is a troubled one, with growing concerns about the multiple challenges posed to the spirit of multilateralism due to the ineffectiveness of the global governance mechanisms to find commonly acceptable solutions. The reasons for many of the difficulties relating to the human rights agenda flow from the often very divergent priorities and concerns of member states in terms of their levels of development, social and cultural contexts, and governance systems. While the global discourse on human rights continues to evolve, fundamental contradictions remain. The relative prioritization of the individual versus the state, national sovereignty versus international norms, universal versus culture-specific approach, all evoke differing opinions. Instances of politicization of human rights as a foreign policy tool and perceived intrusiveness beyond mandated activities remain areas of concern. Mr. President, terrorism has emerged as one of the worst forms of violation of human rights. My country has had to face repeated terrorist attacks on innocent people emanating from beyond our borders. Despite terrorism being acknowledged as one of the foremost global challenges, any meaningful collective response to address this menace continues to be thwarted by some. We will soon also have to consider the varied and uneven impact of emerging technologies, from cyber to genetic engineering and artificial intelligence, on people's lives and rights. Mr. President, the work of the Human Rights Council continues to expand. The effectiveness of its work is, however, not always clear. There is also a proliferation of special procedures, both on thematic and country-specific situations. Instances of such mechanisms and offices operating on their own without any mandate and producing clearly biased documents only further harm the credibility of United Nations. Mr. President, in contrast, the mechanism of universal periodic review has seen a significant success over the 12 years of its working at the Human Rights Council. Every member state has presented their UPR at least once. India has presented its UPR in each of the 3 cycles. A large number of specific recommendations have been implemented by a number of member states, including India. The concrete success of the UPR and the VNR mechanisms in New York is due to their constructive and participatory nature, as opposed to the selective naming and shaming approach that is often resorted to. Mr. President, as an ancient civilization of immense diversity, and today the world's largest democracy, India has abiding faith in the spirit of multilateralism. India's approach to human rights continues to evolve as more rights become justiciable and through the process of progressive interpretation of laws by our judiciary. As an elected member of the Human Rights Council for the term beginning next year, we remain committed to bring in a more pluralistic, moderate, and balanced perspective to help bridge multiple divides. The human rights agenda must be pursued in a fair and equal manner, with objectivity, non-selectivity, and transparency. For the success of our collective and common cause of promoting and protecting human rights, our emphasis should not be confrontational, but instead focus on a more inclusive, participatory, and positive approach through dialogue and capacity building. Thank you, Mr. President.